I'm making the base to begin. It will work like a diorama, but the main point is to give me a limit so that the project won't expand too much. I use PVC foam and cardboard, and I cut slots for my building so it's not connected to the base, so that I can remove it and use the buildings without it. Terrain base often looks weird on a gaming mat. I use this cardboard box to build my main infrastructures. I cut it to size and glue it with hot glue. Then I reinforce the connections from inside with small cardboard pieces at the angles. I make bars for my smallest building with toothpicks. I want to have a variety of material to give richness to this build with recesses, hollow spaces and empty spaces. That will make a great tower that enlarges towards the top, that will make a kind of roof over the rest of the diorama, giving a nice feeling of immersion. I'll connect the two main buildings with a bridge that will be supported by these red things, and I happen to have this small container that looks awesome with its open door. I add one more box to gain height and elevate the build, and some decoration to avoid flat surfaces and trigger the imagination. This door looks good, especially when it hangs in the air. It will be fine as it will hold in place just by fixing it with hot glue. To attach the tower, I will first drill a hole in the roof of the building and drive the opening of the bottle into it to maximize the contact points and strengthen the bond. And I glue the flared tank on top of it. When gluing the tower to the other main building, I was careful to leave some space on the edges to enable the miniatures to walk through. And yes, your minis can walk. I'm going to add bay windows to the bridge to enrich the material mix. It will be like plexiglass. I glue it after painting to preserve the transparency, and I add stairs to make for the level difference. I cut out an empty circle for the floor of the tower and prepare wire mesh to show through to the small box underneath, which has a cool pattern and will act as a fan. This is a metro station after all, and the air underground has to be changed and evacuated. I add stairs to the tower. To save time, I use these PVC stairs. It's at the right scale, but it's not usable in practice because the steps are too small for the model's bases. So I'm going to redo the steps with pieces of cardboard. And voila, stairs that you can really use. It's one of the main features of this terrain, so it was definitely a must. I'm going to connect the tops of these two towers with a bridge and add a round shape to repeat the roundness of the fan tower. The tops of the two towers are at exactly the same level, and that's fate. Yes, I believe in fate. Then I add my second and third floors on the second main structure, which will be the boarding docks to hop into these futuristic hovering trains. It's just the remains of the first boxes that I cut out. That's what I love about making terrain. There are often as many good surprises as bad ones. No doubt the gods of craft are watching us, sometimes laughing at us, sometimes giving us their blessing. I'm starting to replicate my stairs where I need them. I'm going to install platforms halfway up to break up the stairs run and have a more realistic and interesting look. This is the first time I do it, so it's also an opportunity to take the challenge. I have a total of 2 platforms and 4 stair segments for this building. I'm using straws to support the second platform, which will be quite high in the air, perfect for immersion. And I'm redoing all my steps. Here is the result once the main structures are in place. Now comes the decoration and finishing work. I cut these small pieces of cardboard to prop up the support rods, to strengthen the connection and enrich the aesthetics. And this is the structure that will come under the bridge to close the back of the diorama. It's also a sort of air vent from the metro. I close the back side and I decorate the top. The objective is to give the feeling that it's a dangerous zone with cables and electric current, which present a risk of fatal electrocution. It will be a bit below the level of the two adjacent buildings, and I can imagine a fighter pushing his enemy with a kick and the enemy falling down there, being charred alive by the electric current. And these small barriers, unfortunately too low, will not save you. All that's missing are the electric cables. I reinforce the corners of all the buildings, it gives a more robust, more dimensional aspect, and it hides all the connections. I only realized when I looked at the video that it also made the top two floors lean a little bit. I'll touch that up before painting. I finally start the final decoration. I cut out pieces of cardboard to create interesting and futuristic shapes. It enriches the flat surfaces and gives a more robust and finished look. At first I wanted to do this kind of pattern on all the surfaces of the buildings, but it takes too much time, so I just kept the main idea. Seeing the first patterns I did on the smallest building, I thought that making neon lights in the hollows would be really cool. So I kept this idea for the two big buildings, and I started to make some kinds of dots with the edges in volume and the central part hollow from where the light will come out. And above all, I keep all the remains of what I cut out because it will be used to decorate the inside of the two floors of the boarding docks. At the last moment, I got my hands on this thing and it's just perfect to film this, easy and efficient. Finally, I'm tiling the floors of the boarding docks to vary the textures and give this creepy hospital feel that would make a metro station spooky at night, as the only flickering neon light reflects off the tiled floor, giving life to shaky shadows. Or giving shaky shadows to a form of life? Here is the final result. If you liked it, you can subscribe because it's only the beginning.